Good morning. My name is Sebastián De Martino from De Martino Wines. I'm a fourth generation grower here in the domain. And our history, it's all about family. So my family is originally from Italy, from Abruzzo. I'm the fourth generation, as I mentioned earlier. And very importantly, since the beginning, our history is very linked to the area of Maipo, where we are now. But in time, we start developing other areas where we grow some other grape vines. We're going to talk today about the Gallardia Cinsault, a wine that makes us very proud, that comes from the region of Itata. We're going to touch on the region later on. Very important in De Martino is our wine philosophy. We believe in three basic principles. The first one is sense of place. So every single bottle we produce, we want to show the landscape on where it originates. Secondly, it's the purity of the wines. And thirdly, the balance. We like wines that are harmonic, so we don't like high alcohol. So very important for us, charm. The wines have to have a lot of charm, good acid and freshness, but wines that are built in intensity rather than width. For this, it's very important, our growing in the vineyard. Everything we do is either organic certified. Some of our vineyards are not, but the protocols are very sensible farming, let's put it that way. Very important in the winery, we don't correct the wine, so everything we do is wild yeast. We don't correct the wines either with tartaric acid or anything, and because we want something that is very honest to the vineyards that we farm. And very important, we try to minimize the use of new oak. Actually, we don't use new oak at all. So very important in our house that is to use large foudre or tinajas or semen, more neutral vessels. So everything we do from the vineyard, from the winery onwards has an aim to show a very honest wine that shows the landscape and the place, always with harmony and freshness. Hello again. We're here in the tinaja room. By tinaja means amphora in Spanish, that are very important for the Itata history. Actually, there's a range of wines called viejas tinajas that are fermented and aged in these old amphoras that you have listed there in front of them. So I'm here to talk to you about the Itata region. So Itata is the oldest vine growing region in the New World. So that's very important. The first vines were planted there in 1551. So has a tremendous history for the Spanish settlement in the entire continent. So Itata, it's about 450 kilometers south of our main city in Santiago, which means higher rainfall. By higher we mean an average of 1,000 millimeters, so super high. Most of the vineyards are planted, if you see here, in the coastal area. So there's a tremendous influence from the sea. Remember, our Pacific Ocean is really cold, so the closer we are to the sea, it moderates the climate, which means good acid. And as we're rather south, we have high rainfall, which allows to practice dry farming, which is not very common in the New World. So very important, here we have old vineyards in Itata that grow like goblet, so a very short goblet, like bush vines. Our horse plow, very important too, and produce limited yields. We're gonna try the Cinsault Gallardia, which is our first label of Itata. Gallardia means someone who's very proud, someone who's a bit stubborn and believes on what he does. And that's a tribute to the vigneron of the area, because the oldest vignerons in Chile are here. The oldest vines are here in Chile. The oldest wines come from this area. So for us, it's been very important during the last 10 years to develop the wines from Itata that are characterized by their charm and beautiful expression of fruit, wines that make smile, basically. Tasting. Gallardia Cinsault, very important once again. Gallardia is the first label we do in Itata, so our introduction to the Itata main varieties. This is a Cinsault, coming from mature to old vines. Very important, as we mentioned earlier about the climate. We are south of Chile, so temperatures are lower, we're closer to the sea, meaning that we have more acid in general. The wines of Itata, and specifically the Cinsault, will resemble wines that are very charming and very drinkable. The wines were always intended to be very very drinkable is a very good word and the right way to describe them, and will make you smile as well. I think that's an attribute to the wines of the area. So the alcohols are moderate, and they always come with lots of charm in the aroma. So you always will find a bit of spicy notes in the aromas that are very nice. Always very charming. So nice aromatics. It's not very rich, so it's very lively as well. And in the palate, generally, they always show a lot of acid and freshness. So it's a wine that is beautifully to drink, and the idea of this wine is to have several glasses, not only one glass. So in Italia, most of the wines are always very charmed, and that's something that we want to highlight on the Gallardia. Just to finish with the protocols of the wine, this is wild yeast ferment. Then the wine is basically aged in a combination of cement, epoxy cement, and tank. So the idea is to make a very honest example of the Cinsault vineyards of Italy. Hope you enjoy it.